Hi, it's Imogen here with Shay again, and we're going to continue our conversation about procrastination. And Shay, I want to start by asking you, talk about um, finding the wisdom in your procrastination, or in that's in quotes, or in your resistance to doing the thing um, that's making you delay. What do you mean by that? Let's start there. What do you mean by that?
Well, for most people, it's a very firm feeling. I don't want to do this, and it's a felt sense, whether they recognize it or not. That's your body, your nervous system saying, "I'm not ready for this."
Mm.
And in our culture, we tend to just brush that aside, or soldier through or whatever. But when we do that, we're bypassing something really important about ourselves and uh, the full human experience. If we're just blowing ourselves off as procrastinating, well, number one, we might push ourselves to do something when we're not actually ready.
Mm.
And that's just not good for us, unless, like we've discussed, there are certain situations that you have to do that, or you're going to have more negative consequences. But for most everyday things, if we ignore that wisdom that's saying, "I'm not ready yet," we're ignoring an important part of ourselves and the information we need in order to live, as they say, our best life.
So, what is the difference? I don't know if you know this, between I'm not ready to do this and I don't want to do this. Um,
I think
is
there's a
there?
lot of overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes we may be capable of doing things that we don't want to do, but there are reasons we don't want to do it.
I'm I'm just thinking of me getting my accounts together for
mm,
taxes,
yeah,
and I I don't put it off to the very last minute, but I definitely put it off a lot longer than in my mind. It'd be really great to get it done so early this year, and that never happens. It's always way into March, if not April, when I've kind of gathered everything together. Um, and I can't say it's any deep not ready, but it's maybe not important enough to me
mm,
to do something I don't want to do when it's not becoming a little bit more pressing time wise. It's
that makes
just
sense. And if you're doing it in
um,
March, you're not putting yourself at that deadline where you're feeling very distressed and
I'm not doing it on the night before. I'm not, or the day of. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I feel like mm, that's I think what you're doing is trusting your process.
Yeah, I'll
And
tell my
and
accountant that.
yeah, excuse me, I'm going to go over here and trust my process. Yeah, I think that's your way of doing that. That you set this goal every year. I would look at, well, why do I set this goal every year? What is it? What is it in me that wants this goal? Is it really me, or is it that I have this idea of how I should be functioning as a person with a business? Um,
I
and
think I like the idea of it being over with.
yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, I don't want to sidetrack on that, but that's a sort of everyday. It's not a loaded. It's not something that's kind of emotionally challenging to me to do. Um, um, but yeah, there is probably a little bit of wisdom in my feelings around that I don't do it until it's a little bit more needed. That
Mhm.
it's not like I'm just wasting my, well, I'm just wasting my time is what I was going to say, but I'm thinking how much of our language, not just procrastinating, is shaming, wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also teach about how it's good to be not productive, and we need breaks, and we need to look after ourselves, and you know, we need to spend time in the more realm of being than doing.
There you go.
Yeah,
You're
still
practicing what you
completely
preach.
in. Yeah, but I think what I meant to say is that it doesn't mean I wasn't doing other important things.
Right. Yeah. Well, when we want to figure out what is the wisdom of the resistance, we need to be able to connect with our felt sense. That's another thing in our culture that is dismissed, looked down on, ignored, and
Or even
even.
not even known to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you express something from your felt sense, a lot of times you'll get people, you know, having a negative reaction to that, like it's some kind of airy fairy thing. You know, how does your body tell you what to do? Oh, well, it's made up of billions of synaptic connections that are measuring every single thing that's going on in my body, my heart rate, my blood composition, the hormones that are racing through every single cell in my body, the health of my digestive system, how much, you know, my oxygen levels, all those things are happening subconsciously in my body. And this is a lot of intelligence that you can tap into. And your body really knows what's good for it. So if you can listen to the messages, you can actually apply that wisdom to how you behave and into your life, and live the kind of life that's actually really good for you.
Yeah, so that when you delay doing something, that's from this deep wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not ready for this yet, and there's no pressing reason for me to override the signals that I'm getting from myself. In this circumstances, we talked about there are occasionally situations where it is necessary, if you possibly can, to go with the reasoning part rather than all the kind of other signals from your nervous system that you're getting. Like, for instance, if you have an important medical appointment or something like that. And that's not about disconnecting from what you are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's about noticing that and reasoning, this is really, really hard and I have to do it today, and I'm going to support myself as best I can to do this really difficult thing.
Yeah, that's a really important point, that when we understand why we're resisting, we can have the choice to go forward too, for important things, and that gives us the conscious opportunity to support ourselves or get external support, which will make it easier to face the issue, problem, action, go through it and recover from it.
Yeah. And we were kind of talking about how, if you're going into some appointment, for instance, if that's the thing that you would have preferred to put off and procrastinated, and maybe you have cancelled several times, and now it's like come to the critical point that you need to do it, that you can have a friend come with you if that's a possibility. But even if not, there are simple things that you can do for yourself. Give yourself a little self-compassion, even that you are going through something difficult. This is hard, and that you're not the only one to to be having to do something difficult. I think that's kind of part, you know, we can feel like I'm the only one. And but we talked about there's really simple things also to kind of keep you in the here and now, because we can be off into the thing even before it's happened.
Yes, and then the anxiety becomes about the anxiety, and that can be a perpetuating cycle. So when we have practices like the body intelligence that you teach, we can better stay in our window of tolerance, regulate our nervous system, and feel safer and more calm and open and have access to our prefrontal cortex as we go into this situation.
Yeah. So I think that's anything else you want to say about this sort of aspect of like the wisdom of the procrastination in quotes, because it actually isn't. It's just you're delaying because it's not right for you to do this now.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that's your nervous system saying no, and there's a good reason for that. And it's good for you to understand that before you go forward. And it might actually help you go forward.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. I want to invite anyone who's listened to this, if you have any questions about anything that we've said, or if you've got, or about the idea of procrastination, or comments about anything we said, or any other aspect that we could possibly talk about, please do let us know. So thank you, Shay, and we will be back soon. I think we're going to talk about the fun topic of anxiety next.
Yay.